The floorboard groaned under my weight, a sound that seemed to scream in the silence of the dusty attic. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird, the rhythm so frantic I could feel it pulsing in my throat. Outside, the storm was tearing at the roof of Blackwood Manor, the wind howling like a grieving widow, but the storm inside me was far more violent. I held the flashlight in my mouth, the beam shaking as my hands tore through the leather satchel I had found hidden behind the insulation. My fingers, numb from the cold and the shock, brushed against the velvet box. I opened it. Inside wasn't the antique emerald brooch Aunt Florence had promised me. It was empty. But beneath the velvet lining, I found the receipt. Pawn shop, 4th Street. Payment received $15,000. The date on the receipt was yesterday. My breath hitched. Yesterday, my husband, Sebastian, had told me he was at the pharmacy getting my migraine medication. He had come home empty-handed, claiming they were out of stock, looking at me with those puppy dog eyes, stroking my hair, telling me to just rest and let him handle everything. Genevieve? The voice came from the bottom of the attic stairs. It wasn't soft, it wasn't loving. It was cold, sharp, and impatient. The wood creaked. He was coming up. I clicked off the flashlight, plunging myself into darkness, clutching the evidence to my chest as the footsteps grew louder. Thump, thump, thump. "I know you're up there, darling," Sebastian called out, his voice dripping with a terrifyingly fake sweetness. "Cordelia and we need to talk to you about the will. Again." To understand how I ended up cowering in the dark, terrified of the man I had shared my bed with for 10 years, you have to understand who I was before Aunt Florence died. I was Genevieve, the quiet one, the peacemaker. I was the woman who apologized to the table when she bumped into it. I was 42 years old, a librarian with a love for dusty hardcovers and the smell of old paper. I lived a modest, predictable life in a small apartment in the city with Sebastian. Sebastian was magnificent, or so I thought. He was an entrepreneur, which is a fancy word for a man with big dreams and an empty wallet. He was handsome in that rugged, slightly unkempt way, dark curls, intense eyes, a smile that could melt the polar ice caps. He was 5 years younger than me, and for a decade, I felt like the lucky one. I paid the rent, I paid for the groceries, I paid for his investments that never quite panned out. I didn't mind. I loved being needed. Then came the call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday, gray and drizzling. The phone rang at the library desk. It was Mr. Silas Sterling, Aunt Florence's attorney. "Genevieve," his voice was gravelly and somber, "I'm afraid she's gone. She passed in her sleep." Aunt Florence was the only family I really had. She was eccentric, loud, and brilliantly colorful, a woman who wore purple turbans and smoked thin cigarettes in an ivory holder. She lived in Blackwood Manor, a sprawling Victorian estate 3 hours north of the city, a place of turrets, gargoyles, and secrets. I was devastated. Sebastian, to his credit, held me while I cried. He stroked my back, shushed my sobs, and made me tea. "We'll get through this, Jen," he whispered, kissing my forehead. "I'm here. I'll always be here." At the time, I thought he meant he would support me emotionally. I didn't realize he was calculating the square footage of my grief. The funeral was a blur of black umbrellas and the scent of wet lilies, a smell that now makes me nauseous. But the reading of the will, that was when the first crack appeared in the porcelain facade of my marriage. We sat in Mr. Sterling's mahogany-paneled office. The rain lashed against the windows. Beside me sat Sebastian, his hand gripping mine a little too tightly. Across from us sat a woman I barely knew, Cordelia. Cordelia was Sebastian's distant cousin on his mother's side. I had met her maybe twice in 10 years. She was striking, tall, with hair the color of raven feathers and skin as pale as milk. She worked in import-export, whatever that meant. She had shown up at the funeral uninvited, wearing a dress that was a little too tight and a hat that was a little too glamorous. "To my beloved niece, Genevieve," Mr. Sterling read, peering over his spectacles. "I leave the entirety of my estate, including Blackwood Manor, all its contents, and my savings account, totaling $2 million. The silence in the room was absolute. I gasped. I knew Florence was comfortable, but $2 million? And the house? I felt Sebastian's hand spasm in mine. I turned to look at him, expecting shock, maybe a smile of relief that our financial struggles were over. Instead, I saw hunger. It was fleeting, gone in a blink, replaced by his usual supportive mask. But for a second, his eyes had widened, his pupils dilating like a predator spotting a wounded gazelle. "Oh, darling," he breathed, leaning in to kiss my cheek. "She loved you so much. You deserve this." "And what about the debts?" Cordelia asked sharply. Her voice was like crushed glass. Mr. Sterling looked at her coldly. "There are no debts, madam." Florence was meticulous. Cordelia leaned back, crossing her legs, a small, tight smile playing on her red lips. She caught Sebastian's eye. A look passed between them. It was quick, barely there, but it sent a shiver down my spine. It felt intimate, conspiratorial. "Well," Cordelia said, smoothing her skirt, "that is wonderful news. Cousin Genevieve, you'll need help. That old house is a beast to manage." "We'll handle it," Sebastian said quickly, squeezing my hand again. "Genevieve and I." We moved into Blackwood Manor 2 weeks later. The house was magnificent but decaying. The wallpaper was peeling in long, mournful strips. The floorboards sang with every step. The air smelled of beeswax, lavender, and something older, damp earth and decay. The first week was almost romantic. Sebastian was energized. He walked through the rooms, tapping the walls, inspecting the fireplaces. "We can knock this wall down," he said, standing in the grand dining room. "Open concept, modernize it." "I don't want to modernize it, Sebastian," I said gently, running my hand over the intricate oak wainscoting. "I want to restore it. This is Florence's history." He turned to me, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. "Of course, babe, whatever you want, but we need to be practical. The value of this place could triple if we flip it." "I'm not selling," I said firmly. His jaw tightened. A small tick in his cheek jumped. "Right. Not yet, anyway." That night, the first strange thing happened. I woke up around 3 a.m. The house was settling, groaning in the wind, but I heard something else, a rhythmic scraping sound, like metal on wood. I sat up. "Sebastian?" The space beside me was empty. The sheets were cold. I put on my robe and crept into the hallway. The scraping was coming from the library downstairs. My heart began to race. An intruder? I tiptoed down the grand staircase, avoiding the step I knew creaked. The library door was ajar. A sliver of light spilled out. I peeked inside. Sebastian was there. He wasn't reading. He was on his knees by the fireplace, using a poker to pry at the stone hearth. He was sweating, muttering to himself. "Where is it? Old hag said it was here?" "Sebastian?" I said, my voice trembling. He jumped, dropping the poker with a loud clang. He spun around, his face a mask of panic that instantly smoothed into concern. "Genevieve, you scared me." "What are you doing?" I asked, hugging my robe tighter. It's 3 in the morning. He stood up, wiping his soot-stained hands on his pajama pants. I heard a noise. A rat, I think. It ran behind the hearth. I was trying to scare it out. Didn't want it to frighten you. A rat? I looked at the heavy stone he had been prying at. With a fireplace poker? They're big out here in the country, Jen, he chuckled, walking over and wrapping his arms around me. He smelled of sweat and cold ash. Come on back to bed, you're shivering. I let him lead me back upstairs, but I didn't sleep. His heart was beating too fast against my back, and I knew, deep down, that you don't hunt rats by trying to lift a 50-pound stone slab. 3 days later, Cordelia arrived. She didn't call, she just showed up in a red convertible, 2 Louis Vuitton suitcases in the back. "Surprise!" she cried, posing in the driveway as I opened the heavy oak door. Sebastian was behind me instantly, his hand on the small of my back. "Cordelia," I asked, "what are you doing here?" "I came to help," she beamed, marching past me into the foyer without waiting for an invitation. "Sebastian mentioned how overwhelmed you were with the cleaning and the sorting. I thought family helps family, right?" I looked at Sebastian. "You told her I was overwhelmed?" "You seemed stressed, honey," Sebastian shrugged, looking apologetic. "I thought an extra pair of hands would be good. Plus, Cordelia has an eye for design." "I'm staying in the blue room," Cordelia announced from the top of the stairs. "It has the best light." And just like that, the atmosphere in the house shifted. It became suffocating. Cordelia wasn't there to help. She was there to take over. She criticized everything. The curtains were dreadful. The china was tacky. The garden was a jungle. But it was the way she looked at Sebastian that bothered me most. One afternoon, I walked into the kitchen to find them laughing. They were standing close, too close. Cordelia's hand was resting on Sebastian's forearm, her fingers trailing lightly over his skin. They stopped abruptly when I entered. "Oh, Genevieve," Cordelia said, her voice dripping with faux sweetness. "We were just joking about how quaint your taste in mugs is." She held up my favorite mug, a chipped ceramic cat Florence had given me. "It has sentimental value," I said, taking it from her hand. The ceramic was warm, but her fingers were ice cold. "Sentiment doesn't pay the bills, darling," she muttered, turning back to the coffee machine. The gaslighting started slowly. First, it was small things. My keys weren't where I left them. I would leave them on the hook and find them in the refrigerator. "You're tired, Jen," Sebastian would say, chuckling. "Country air is making you loopy." Then it was conversations. "I told you, Genevieve," Sebastian said over dinner one night, cutting into his steak with aggressive precision. "We have an appointment with the real estate appraiser tomorrow." "No, you didn't," I insisted, my fork hovering over my plate. "We agreed we weren't appraising the house yet." "I told you yesterday," he sighed, looking at Cordelia. "Didn't I tell her, Cordelia?" "You certainly did," Cordelia nodded, sipping her wine. "You were standing right there in the garden, Genevieve. You must have zoned out. You do that a lot lately." I felt a cold prickle of fear. Was I losing my mind? I remembered the garden. I remembered talking about the roses. I didn't remember an appraiser. "Maybe you should see a doctor," Cordelia suggested, her eyes gleaming over the rim of her glass. "Early onset dementia runs in families, doesn't it?" "No," I snapped, louder than I intended. "It doesn't." They both looked at me with pity, calculated, weaponized pity. The turning point came with the jewelry. Aunt Florence had a collection of vintage jewelry. It was kept in a safe in the master bedroom. I had the combination, or so I thought. One morning, I went to retrieve a pearl necklace to wear for a trip into town. I dialed the combination, 142205, Florence's birthday. The safe didn't open. I tried again. Nothing. "Sebastian," I called out. He appeared in the doorway, drying his hair with a towel. He looked like a Greek god, and for a moment, I hated him for it. "What's wrong?" "The safe won't open. Did you change the combination?" He frowned. "Me? Jen, I don't even know the combination. You never told me. You said you didn't trust me with it, remember?" I froze. "I never said that." "You did," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. He walked over and put his hands on my shoulders. "Last Tuesday, you were drinking that wine. You got very emotional. You said I was just a broke dreamer and you wouldn't trust me with the family jewels." I didn't. Tears pricked my eyes. I didn't remember that. I hadn't been drinking wine last Tuesday. Had I? "Shh," he hugged me. Over his shoulder, I saw Cordelia standing in the hallway. She wasn't smiling. She was watching, her face completely blank. That afternoon, I drove into town. I needed to get away from the house. I needed to breathe. I went to the local hardware store. The owner, an old man named Mr. Abernathy, had known Florence for 40 years. "Mornin', Mrs. Genevieve," he tipped his cap. "How's the renovation going?" Slowly, I managed a smile. "That husband of yours is a busy man," Mr. Abernathy chuckled. "Came in here yesterday, bought a high-grade stethoscope and a diamond-tipped drill bit. Said he was fixing plumbing, but that seemed like odd tools for pipes." My blood ran cold. A stethoscope, a drill, tools for cracking a safe. I thanked Mr. Abernathy, my legs feeling like jelly. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, just breathing. Sebastian wasn't fixing plumbing. He was trying to break into the old wall safe in the basement, the one Florence had told me was empty and sealed shut years ago. Why? I drove back to the manor, a new resolve hardening in my chest. I wasn't crazy. I was being played. When I got home, the house was empty. Sebastian's car was there, and so was Cordelia's, but the house was silent. I walked into the kitchen. On the counter lay Sebastian's phone. He never left his phone. I knew his passcode. It was my birthday, or it used to be. I tried 0612. It unlocked. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. I opened his messages. The most recent thread was with a contact named C. "She's cracking. The memory stuff is working. She doubts her own shadow. Good. We need to find the bond certificates before she realizes the account is draining. Did you get into the basement safe? No, it's reinforced steel. I need more time. Keep her distracted. I'm trying, but she's annoying. I just want my share so we can leave this dump and go to Rio. Patience, baby. 2 million plus the bonds. We'll live like kings." The phone slipped from my hand and clattered onto the counter. "Baby. Rio." The world tilted. The nausea hit me like a physical blow. They weren't cousins. They were lovers, partners, grifters. They had been playing me. The funeral, the tears, the support, it was all a script. I heard a car door slam outside. I looked out the window. Sebastian and Cordelia were walking up from the garden shed, laughing. He had his arm around her waist. He kissed her neck. I felt a scream building in my throat, but I swallowed it down. Screaming wouldn't help. If I confronted them now, they would deny it. They would say I was paranoid, crazy, dangerous. They might even have me committed. Sebastian had power of attorney if I was incapacitated. I needed proof, hard, undeniable proof, and I needed to secure the assets before they drained everything. I remembered the attic. Florence had always said, "If you ever feel lost, Genevieve, look to the stars." I thought she meant it metaphorically, but Florence was literal. Her stars were painted on the ceiling of the attic, and under the star painted as Polaris, there was a loose floorboard. She had showed it to me when I was 10. "This is where I keep the things I don't want the world to see," she had whispered. I ran up the stairs. The storm had started outside, rain lashing the windows, matching my chaotic heartbeat. I reached the attic. It was freezing. I found the star. I pried up the board. And that brings us back to the moment in the dark. The receipt from the pawn shop. He had stolen the emerald brooch, the one I couldn't find last week, and pawned it. That was the investment money. "Genevieve?" Sebastian's voice was closer now. He was on the landing. I shoved the receipt into my bra. I stood up, dusting off my knees. I couldn't let him know I knew. Not yet. I switched on the flashlight and aimed it at the door just as he appeared. "Jesus!" He flinched, shielding his eyes. "Put that down, Jen." "I was looking for blankets," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "It's cold tonight." Sebastian stared at me. The shadows cast by the flashlight made his face look skull-like. He took a step toward me. "In the attic? There are blankets in the linen closet." "I wanted the old quilts," I lied, "the ones Florence made." He studied me. For a terrifying second, I thought he saw through me. I thought he was going to lunge. Then Cordelia appeared behind him. "Is she up there?" she drawled. "God, it smells like dead mice." "She's getting blankets," Sebastian said, not taking his eyes off me. "Come on down, Genevieve. We made hot cocoa." Hot cocoa, probably laced with sedatives. "I'll be right down," I said. I followed them down the stairs, my mind racing. I had to get out of the house. I had to get to the police. But the storm was raging, and the nearest town was 20 miles away. If I tried to leave, they would stop me. We sat in the living room. The fire was crackling. Sebastian handed me a mug. "Here," he smiled. "Drink up." I took the mug. "Thank you." I brought it to my lips, feigning a sip, and then, clumsily, dropped it. The ceramic shattered on the hearth. The brown liquid hissed as it hit the fire. "Oh no," I cried. "I'm so clumsy today." Cordelia rolled her eyes. Unbelievable. It's fine," Sebastian said, his jaw tight. "I'll get a rag." While he was in the kitchen, I looked at Cordelia. "So," I said, keeping my voice light, "how is the import-export business?" She looked at me, bored. "It's fine. Why?" "I was just wondering if you ever export to Rio?" Her head snapped up, her eyes narrowed into slits. "What did you say?" "Rio," I repeated, locking eyes with her. "I hear it's beautiful this time of year, perfect for spending inherited money." The color drained from her face. She stood up. "Sebastian," she screamed. Sebastian came running in, a rag in his hand. What is it?" "She knows," Cordelia hissed, pointing a manicured finger at me. "She knows about Rio." Sebastian dropped the rag. The mask fell completely. His face didn't hold love or concern or even fake pity anymore. It held pure, unadulterated malice. "You went through my phone," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. I did. I stood up, backing away toward the heavy oak desk where Florence kept her letter opener. "I know about the pawn shop. I know about the safe-cracking tools. I know you're lovers." Sebastian laughed. It was a dry, humorless sound. "Well, that simplifies things, doesn't it? No more acting." He took a step toward me. "Give me the keys to the safe deposit box, Genevieve." "The one at the bank. We know Florence kept the bearer bonds there." "I don't have them," I said, my hand closing around the silver handle of the letter opener behind my back. "Don't lie to me," he roared, lunging forward. I dodged, scrambling behind the sofa. "Get out of my house!" "It's not your house," Cordelia shrieked, grabbing a heavy brass candlestick. "It's ours. We deserve it. We've been waiting for that old hag to die for years." "Waiting?" I froze. "You knew Florence?" Sebastian smiled, a cruel, twisting thing. Knew her? Genevieve? Cordelia was Florence's nurse 3 years ago, the one she fired for stealing. We've been planning this since the day I met you at the library. You were the perfect mark. Lonely, naive, desperate for love. The words hit me harder than a physical blow. Our entire relationship, every kiss, every I love you, it was all a long con. I felt something inside me break, but it wasn't my spirit. It was the dam holding back my rage. I wasn't the quiet librarian anymore. I was the mistress of Blackwood Manor. You think I'm weak? I said, my voice low and trembling with fury. I think you're pathetic, Sebastian sneered. Now, give us the keys, or we make your accident look very convincing. A fall down the stairs? A fire? He moved toward me. Cordelia circled the other way. I was trapped. But they had forgotten one thing: the house itself. I backed up against the wall, right next to the panel for the old servant's dumbwaiter system. Florence had modernized the electrics, but the old emergency alarm button, a loud industrial klaxon meant to summon help from the groundskeeper's cottage, was still active. And I had hired a new groundskeeper yesterday. A man named Silas, not the lawyer, a massive ex-military man who lived in the cottage down the lane. He told me to press the button if I ever felt unsafe. Last chance, Jen, Sebastian growled. I slammed my palm against the red button on the wall. The sound was deafening, a piercing, rhythmic siren that shook the walls. Wah! Wah! Sebastian covered his ears, stumbling back. Shut it off! Cordelia screamed, dropping the candlestick. I said, get out! I yelled over the siren. Sebastian recovered first. Rage twisted his face. He pulled a small pistol from his waistband. I hadn't known he had a gun. Turn it off, or I swear to God! Crash. The front door exploded inward. Silas stood there, dripping wet, holding a shovel like a baseball bat. He didn't ask questions. He took in the scene, the gun, the fear on my face. Drop it, Silas roared, his voice booming over the siren. Sebastian turned, distracted. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the heavy brass vase from the table, the one Cordelia had called tacky, and swung it with every ounce of strength I possessed. It connected with the back of Sebastian's head with a sickening thud. He crumpled to the floor like a puppet with cut strings. The gun skittered away. Cordelia screamed and tried to run for the door, but Silas blocked her path, simply holding out the shovel. She backed away, sobbing, terrified. I walked over to the wall and hit the button to kill the alarm. The silence that followed was heavy and ringing. I looked down at Sebastian. He was groaning, conscious but dazed. Blood matted his perfect hair. I walked over to him, reached into his pocket, and pulled out his phone. Silas, I said, my voice cold as the winter wind. Call the police. And then call Mr. Sterling. I looked at Cordelia, who was cowering in the corner. You wanted the house? I asked her. You can wait in the cellar until the sheriff gets here. It has excellent acoustics for screaming. The police arrived 20 minutes later. They found the tools in Sebastian's trunk. They found the pawn tickets. And thanks to the text messages, they had a conspiracy charge that stuck. It turned out Sebastian had married 3 other women in different states under different names. He was a professional predator. Cordelia was his accomplice and lover. They are both currently serving 10-year sentences for fraud, attempted extortion, and assault. As for me, I didn't sell Blackwood Manor. I renovated it, but I did it my way. I'm sitting in the library now as I write this. The fireplace is lit, properly this time. Silas is outside fixing the trellis. He's a good man. We have tea on Tuesdays, just tea. I learned a painful lesson that year. I learned that greed can wear a handsome face. I learned that I love you is easy to say, but actions are the only truth. But mostly, I learned that I am not weak. I am not just a librarian. I am a survivor. When I look in the mirror now, I don't see the naive woman who paid Sebastian's bills. I see a woman who swung a brass vase to save her own life. So here is my question to you. If you found out the person you loved most was a lie, would you have the strength to fight back? Or would you hand over the keys to keep the illusion alive? Think about it, because you never know who is sleeping beside you. Please, if you enjoyed my story, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a confession. And tell me in the comments, how would you have punished Sebastian and Cordelia?